When did you begin your career in the Public Defender's Office?
I joined the office in about 1972, and I left in 2003.
What were your assignments in the Public Defender's Office?
Well, we began trying cases right off the bat, and it seemed to me we tried our first felony cases within 6 months of coming into the office. In 1983, which is 11 years after I joined the office, I became a Chief Deputy Public Defender, which was a position that I held by and large throughout my tenure with the office, except for about a 9-month period in 2001 when I was an interim public defender.
What were your assignments in the Public Defender's Office?
Well, I served by and large in those first several decades as the Chief Deputy in the Central Division. And the Central Division was a large one. It included San Bernardino, Redlands, Fontana, Juvenile, Crestline. It was a large area. And then eventually, after serving as interim public defender, I served in the desert, which was the largest geographical area. And then in my last year, I was head of Human Services Division. At that point, of course, we had a burgeoning sexually violent predator, mentally disordered offender, and juvenile caseload.
What was the most significant change that you experienced during your time with the Public Defender's Office?
Well, I can answer that question on a number of levels. Of course, you can imagine having seen the growth of the county and a change in the court system. When we came into the office, extraordinarily enough, there were many justice courts in addition to the main courts. The Public Defender's Office had 3 main offices, the West End, Central, and Juvenile. We had justice courts in some somewhat unlikely places, such as Parker, out by the river, Yermo, near Barstow, and we had a lot of justice court judges who were, by and large, non-attorney judges. Having come from Chicago, where I went to law school, it was rather a shock to have to practice law before a non-trained, legally non-trained judge. Often there weren't even law books in the courtroom, including the penal code, interestingly enough.
When did the justice courts end?
I can't be certain as to when these courts disappeared, but the position of non-attorney justice court judges ended before the justice courts did. And then those courts, I believe, were promoted to municipal courts.
What was your most memorable experience with the Public Defender's Office?
That's awfully hard to say. As a trial attorney, I think there is nothing quite as satisfying as winning a jury trial in a serious case with horrific consequences when you represent an innocent person and you are convinced that it is an innocent person whom you're representing. And I would say a case with multiple sexual offender counts that I won was most gratifying as in terms of my service as a trial lawyer. As a chief deputy, and I would probably roll this into the experience of which I am most pleased that I was able to contribute to the system as a whole, is in helping develop the drug court and the mental health court. We saw a shift soon after I came into the Public Defender's Office from prison commitments that were based on rehabilitation. In 1976, we saw the death of the indeterminate sentence law, and it became a determinate sentence with a philosophy of punishment as the reason, the raison d'etre of imprisonment of defendants who were convicted. It struck all of us that there were many individuals who were serving time in prison who could be rehabilitated because they were principally drug-addicted individuals and therefore driven to crime, that they were not fundamentally criminalized. And so I served on the first team that went to Florida to look at a program started by Janet Reno, of all people, as Attorney General of Florida, to see what the structure of a drug court would be, and went with members of, obviously, the bench, Pat Morris, the District Attorney's Office, Probation Department, Sheriff's Department, and we brought back the seed of this drug court idea to San Bernardino County, developed it, and of course it's proliferated throughout the county and has continued to proliferate throughout the United States and to Europe as well. And then also participated in a similar model dealing with mentally ill offenders who we felt were not really criminalized as yet, but could be rehabilitated given the proper court structure.
What was your greatest accomplishment in the Public Defender's Office during your time with them?
I would have to say that, and this is a message to all public defenders, young and old, it is a real honor to represent the interests of individuals who deserve to have justice done in the courts. I mean, we are the last stop on that train to justice and fairness.
Thank you.
Thank you.